Hey everybody, welcome to the Ronline Report. Today we have not one but two great guests. I've spoken to 212 superstar, yes, I'm calling him superstar, Derek Lunsford many times. But today we got both Derek and his longtime coach, James Brown, on for the first time. So we're doing this from three locations. I'm in Massachusetts. Derek is there in Boca Raton area, Florida?
Oh, I'm in Tampa.
Tampa? Yeah, it's all the same to me.
This is the better area.
Okay. When's the hurricane coming? Like tomorrow?
No, I know. I wish I was in Boca right now instead. Or I don't know if it's going through there, but
I think every year right before the Olympia, a hurricane hits Florida, basically.
I know it's coming.
And joining us all the way from Oxygen Gym in Jabriya, Kuwait City. No, that's not true. It's actually, that's a little joke. Indiana, we got James Brown. James, how are you, sir?
Good. I'm actually in Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh, is that where you live now?
Yeah.
Hey, we already butchered this interview, guys.
No, that's how I roll. Don't worry about it. So we are now recording this 2 weeks exactly from judging for and finals. They're doing it all in one day, right? This year.
Yeah.
So it's all going to happen. All going to happen 2 weeks from Friday, the Olympia weekend for the 212 Olympia. So my first question is, guys, last year, second place was amazing. Can't hope for much better than that except first, and Flex Lewis was the man. So you had to bow down to Flex on his way out with 7 wins. But talk about the prep last year and the last minute, because I know things didn't go 100% the way you wanted. You didn't get exactly the look you guys wanted. So James, you want to start?
Yeah, I'll start. Sorry. The coming into the show last year, there was a lot of hype around Derek. There was a lot of gym photos. There was a lot of gym videos. Everybody knows what gym photos and gym videos do and how you look. They're optimal lighting. They're huge pumps. They're, maybe taken 6 or 7 times to make sure everything looks just perfect.
Don't forget portrait mode.
Yeah, portrait mode, and Derek doesn't filter his photos, so there's none of that, nothing like that going on. But and then about 3 weeks out, I think it is, we decided to pull back on pictures, and he looked good 4 or 5 weeks out, big and full, but he still had a little bit of crispness he needed to bring in. And I think we brought a really good look to the Olympia. I wouldn't say it was off by any means. I wouldn't say we were unhappy with it or it wasn't what we were going for. Yeah. I think there was just so much hype that people expected Derek to come out there and be Ronnie Coleman on stage.
Absolutely.
And all of a sudden, make Flex look like he's 5 foot and 140 pounds. And, and it's like, guys, they're all 212. Derek still is only 24. He can't even rent a car. And, so it's not that it wasn't.
Wait a minute. Wait, Derek, how old are you now?
I'm 26.
26. He can rent, I think 25 you can rent a car.
Oh, okay. So he barely snuck in last year.
Last year was the first time I was able to.
Yeah. Oh, so, it was, and then, we were going hard. Derek was training hard. He was training, honestly, the last few weeks he was training too hard. His body just got a little bit tired towards the end, and it showed. We still brought something really good. He was, but like I said, it was still a good look. We were still very happy. I wouldn't say it wasn't what we wanted. We were coming for that first place look, and Derek was training 120%, and he should have been training 100%. But in his mindset, it was like, I got to give everything. And everybody knows at the end, you do kind of have to pull back when your body's tired, when your body fat's 3% and all that stuff. And so it wore him out a little bit near the end. And then as we were trying to peak coming into the show, due to being a little bit tired, his body didn't respond quite as well as we would have liked. Yeah. But overall, we were very happy, and we took that as a good learning curve, and we evaluated what had happened last year and made some changes coming into this year.
Yeah. So Derek, I
recall, it would just seem like every day and every week the last couple weeks. But I can recall even when James and I met up at the hotel in Vegas, I just remember that and he can, I'm sure, remember it too. I remember telling him, like, dude, I am just so stressed. I cannot wind down. Like, my mind, I physically and mentally just feel so stressed. And I said, it's not even about the competition at all. Like, I'm confident about the competition, I said, and what I've done to get here, but I can't mentally or physically calm down. And he was trying to get me to lay down in the bed, and just rest and be quiet by myself. And it took me actually until after the Olympia to even like deload my stress levels mentally and physically, because I was just, like he said, training so hard, giving more than I probably should have. And it just didn't add up to what, like you said in the beginning, the hype. And I helped create that, and I love that, and I'm still doing that. And believe me, I will be considerably better this year. That's not me just hyping and BSing everybody, but the approach this year has been going much better for sure.
Okay. So James just talked about when you go 120%, it's not the best result. Your body really can't be at it can't have that fresh, full pop look that it should for a show. So at what point in the prep, because we're 2 weeks out now, what point in the prep did you start pulling just a little bit back on that intensity and everything?
We didn't. We just kept going harder.
Yeah, last year it was just, Derek just kept going harder. And the thing is for a guy in open, it's not as much of a problem, because as you go harder and harder and harder, we can keep cranking food up and up and up and up and up and optimally recovering, or pretty optimally recovering. Now, when you have a cutoff and you're doing that and you're already above weight, I mean, we did have to come down to make 212. You can't just keep plugging food in, especially when you're a hyper responder to food like Derek is. I mean, it doesn't take nothing after a show in calories to go from 212 back up to 225 or 230. And so if we would have ate to recover the way he was training last year, there would have been no chance of probably getting under 220. Wow. I mean, and so, this year we've just really listened to his body, played it by ear. I've told him, look, you've got to be in control of your training. No one else can be in control ultimately and know how your body feels. And that doesn't mean punk out on a training session, but when you're starting to get fatigued, then we've got to transition off of heavy, hardcore, base movements and into volume training and doing that to still stimulate the muscle, move the blood and nutrients around, but not just kill the CNS over and over and over every day.
That's what's incredible. And I'll say two things. One is I do have a guy that's been helping me with my training, and I would say more like a training partner, but also giving me a lot of guidance because he is a trainer in my 40. But just a friend of mine that's been coming in and, pushing me through my workouts. But what's been great about him is actually like not necessarily pushing me, but almost like holding me back, like saying, dude, you've done plenty today. You smashed it. Like, you don't need to do any more. You're done. And so I think that's actually helped me more than pushing, you know what I mean? More than pushing it harder is to help me back off a little bit whenever I feel like I need to keep going. But I said I was gonna say two things. I don't even remember what I was gonna say.
Well, who was you didn't say the guy's name? Give him a little credit.
Yeah, so his name's Fred. He is from Brazil. He moved to New York and then was a big time trainer up in New York, and then started at MI40. I would say 9 months ago after last year's Olympia. But he's a friend first, and then like James said, what the other thing I was gonna say was, I have him, but there, for support and to push me and help maybe guide me through, because we have very similar mindsets when it comes to training and methods. So I don't say I trust him more. It's more like we're in sync with one another of how we like to train. So he's getting to know me more and more and more every day and every week that we're spending together. But there have been plenty of times this year where he said, all right, I want you to do this, I want you to do that. And I said, dude, I'm not doing that. And, we'll talk about it on why I will or will not do that exercise. And yeah, like James said, this year I'm going back to how I did the first 3 years in turning pro and going to Olympia my first year. I did all my training myself. And then last year, I completely and totally listened to someone else. And am I thankful? Oh, 100%, man. I am very thankful I went through everything I went through last year. But ultimately, I have to be able to make a decision, even if someone's pushing me, to say, okay, I know my body, and I know that I give 120% all the time. So it's not me slacking; it's me being optimal.
Mm. James, I have a question for you because I've made this observation many times, but nobody listens to me because I'm not a big name coach. So I want you to get, I want you to agree with me so everyone thinks I'm smart now. But I see that guys in the off season focus on the heavy straight sets, and they don't do as much with the intensity techniques, drop sets, supersets, giant sets, all that stuff. But suddenly when they're in prep and their calories are down, the carbs are down, cardio's way up, and they have less resources, that's when they start cranking up all these intensity techniques, doubling the volume of their training, which to me seems like ass backwards. It's like your body has less to recover from, but now you're slamming it with all this extra work. I think that's why a lot of guys end up, flattening out and losing muscle going into shows. Have you seen that happen to a lot of guys?
So what you're saying is you think when a guy gets to zero carbs, he shouldn't go to 2-a-day training? Is that?
I don't think you should. I don't think you should increase your volume and intensity when you're lowering your calories and all that.
No,
I would
I
think,
agree with you, and that's why I was joking.
oh,
You see a lot of these guys that their calories are low, their cardio up, and they're like, "Hey, can I go to 2-a-day training?" I'm like, "Hell, not no, hell no." That's the dumbest thing. Like you're already buried, and now you're gonna tell me that you have all this extra energy that you can train twice a day and recover, but you're telling me you're so tired getting through cardio stuff? you know so yeah, I completely agree, and that's one of the things that I always try to focus on with all my clients is we do hit the hard progressive overload, especially in the off season, but that doesn't mean in and out in a short period of time. There's still volume that goes along with it, and you're still increasing the progressive overload in your volume training. And so you're constantly working that volume up and up and up, even with those heavy hard sets. And then as you start coming down and it's getting harder and harder in those last 3 weeks, I truly believe until about 3 weeks out, maybe 4 weeks out, you should be training the most optimal you've ever trained. I know me personally, I've always hit all my PRs at about 4 weeks out, 3 weeks out from a show. Your body's moving well. You still got a lot of food in you typically at that time if you stayed in decent off-season shape.
yeah.
And everything's going smooth. Your strength should be going up. Now, after that 3 to 4 week mark, yeah, that's when you want to start pulling back, in my opinion, on a little bit of those, super heavy deads or real heavy squats or whatever it is, those real heavy, hard compound, low rep movements, and not cutting them out completely. Don't get me wrong there. They should still be in there, but transitioning a little more to a volume training. Like if you use, let's say, I know Derek likes to use leg press and hack squat for a lot of his primary quad movements. And in the off season, he's banging those out hard. I'm not saying pull them out. Why would we pull out what got you there?
Yeah.
All we're going to do is we're going to reduce weight and increase volume slightly on those working sets, so there's less joint pain, there's less CNS destruction, and we're able to recover better with the nutrients we have to provide.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. I'm curious because, Derek, you've been growing. You've been putting on a lot of muscle these past couple of years. Making 212 the first time you did the Olympia, I don't think it was that big of a deal, right? You didn't have to suffer to get down to 212 back in the
No, because I was a light
2017.
heavyweight.
Right. Last year, a little more of a challenge.
Yeah, I really think that if I had been an optimal, I don't want to say optimal health. I think that would be like a dangerous word to use, but I think you get what I'm saying. Like mentally and physically in a better spot. I think that I would have been over the 212 mark after we weighed in. I don't know if James would agree with that or not, but It just seemed like my body just wasn't taking in the food like it should have been as much or as well. I mean, like you said, we definitely brought a package that I can actually be proud of. Like I'm still very proud of last year, and it was a deserving second in my opinion, though we were going for first. It just wasn't my best in what I believe we're going to bring this year. But going back with the whole, getting stronger and through the prep, I trained legs yesterday, and I did hack squats, and I actually told my buddy Fred, I said that I was just talking about. I said. I'm not going to go heavy today. I'm going to start lightening the weight a little bit, but here we go again. I put, freaking 8 plates on each side and hit two. I did 2 sets of, and hit 2 PRs yesterday.
Wow.
But the overall volume was a little bit less because I went so heavy and hard on those couple sets. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, things are just clicking.
Can I ask what your carbs are like at this point, roughly, or what the range is?
What are they, James?
Come on, James.
Pretty high. I don't know. I don't track them. Let me think here.
Roughly, probably about 300.
300,
okay.
350. Yesterday, I think they were closer to 400.
Okay.
Yeah, 350 or something yesterday.
Yeah,
it's not awful at all. Yeah.
I mean, I don't track macros with any of my clients. I track their food. I mean, it's 6 of one, half dozen of another. You know what I mean? If you're eating what I tell you to, the macros fall where they fall.
And not to mention, like if you're weighing out rice, like there's such a range of what is 1 cup of rice? Is that 150 grams of weighed out rice? Okay, well how much water? You know what I mean? Like there's a range. So like if it's just consistent, that's the thing.
Exactly.
Like I tell people, get a potato this big. Big as your fist. That's scientific. That's
right.
Very accurate.
And then this is what I would do as an amateur. James would say, I want you to get a regular size or like medium potato. I'm like, okay. Or he's like, I want you to eat like 6 ounces of potato. I'm like, okay. So I would think that if I warmed it up, cooked it longer and dried it out more, I could eat more. So I don't know.
Did the weight change? I'm curious.
Look, that was me several years ago.
I think that would actually work though.
You would definitely get more food in you, that's for sure, but it's not keeping things constant. But
that'd be one dry ass potato.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this year, I mean, everyone was freaking out because it was about 2 months ago you guest posed somewhere around 235, maybe closer to 240.
No, that's way off. Who said that?
That's what everybody thought, Ron. That's what everybody thought.
I'm perpetuating the myth.
That was 6 weeks out, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, that guest posing was 6 weeks out. He was probably 224.
Okay. It sounded better my way, but
we just let people believe what they wanted to believe. Yeah. He's big, full, and crazy looking, and everybody said, "Oh, he's got to be like 235." Yeah, he's 235.
Because I mean, immediately everyone said he needs to go open. Forget about this 212. Which is, I find it happens to the classic guys and more so the 212 guys. As soon as they start to get very successful in their division, people start telling them to get out of that division.
Need to go
open. Why? I mean, especially in Derek's case, he was 1 spot away from the world title, the Olympia title last year. Why would he suddenly screw it?
Let me say one more thing. I can guarantee everyone watching this that's following bodybuilding that if not next year, I can guarantee in 3 years, you mark my words, this industry is going to be different. And it's going to be better for the athletes in all divisions. I'm telling you.
You can't just leave us hanging like that.
I don't know that much, but I just, from the rumor mills and like what I believe, what I really feel in my heart, the direction that this industry is going is only up. And I'm very excited about that. And so, yes.
I mean, that's a very, very mysterious statement, Derek.
Well, I don't know anything very, very specific. So
are you talking about that one? Are you talking about that one show?
Don't act like I just see. I'm hearing through the woodworks about some, people that can help support this industry better and help grow this industry. And I see where this industry is going from where. Like I'm the type of person I have big visions. So I always think about where I came from, where I'm at now, and where I'm moving forward. And that's why I look at this industry is that, after the whole social media, took over, I think people got scared and said, oh, bodybuilding's dying. But like I said, a couple of years now down the road, we're figuring out how to transition with the social media. And I think there's going to be this industry is going to continue to grow. And so, like I said, like we were talking about switching divisions. Well, I think that every division is about to grow, and that includes the 212.
Wow. Well, I wish we had more information from you to go on, but I'm glad that's encouraging to hear. I hope.
We used to see so many guys too that are still hungry to be bodybuilders, and they're on the shorter end like myself, and so much talent, man. Geez, that first of all is going to be in the Olympia this year, but ones that didn't make it to the Olympia this year that are knocking on the door and are hungry as hell. I'm telling you, the 212 guys are more hungry than anyone else. And I'm going to even say that about the Open, and even this year's Olympia Open, I think the 212 guys are hungrier.
Oh, I mean, I would absolutely agree with that.
Anyway, let's go back to James. This is James's interview, not mine.
Yeah. James, have you ever heard of anyone? You've been with Derek since show number 1, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Which was like 2014, first show?
I think that's right. 2014, 2015 maybe?
Okay.
2015 Indianapolis Championships?
Okay.
So we had met each other in like 2012 or something like that, or 2013, and then he became my coach in 2014 at the end of the year, and I did my first show 2015.
So Derek, don't name names, but have any other coaches tried to poach you away from James?
Well, not necessarily directly, because I think it'd be stupid if somebody said, hey, you need to work with me, which actually I take that back. I have had a few people say you should work with me, but I appreciate it and everything. I've had the way that most coaches go about it is different ones try different techniques, of how to approach you. And usually it's, oh man, your coach really messed it up, or your coach is, if he would just do things different, and they don't even know James, right? So it's usually downing James, which really offends me because I've always, James has always had my back, and I've always had James's back. I fight for that guy online all the time, and he can attest for that. But that's just my character, man, is that I'm super, super loyal. And I think actually he was one person that kind of instilled that in me early on in this industry because, he expressed how this industry was becoming less and less loyal to like their coaches or to just to anyone or sponsors or whatever. So he's like, if you can be loyal to people, like that's a big character, that's a great character, whatever.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're trying. You're 2 weeks out from the show. Don't worry about it.
And so anyway, basically what I'm saying, long story short, is that, I've trusted him from the beginning, and he's not steered me wrong. We have had some things where we could have done better at times, but look, guys, everybody messes up, and I'm not saying James has ever messed up. I don't think there's ever been a mess up at all. I just think that we try things that we've never tried before, and sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. And the longer that we stay together and the more loyal we are to each other and honest and open, communicate, then we're only going to grow stronger in our coach-athlete relationship. But not to mention, he's like a big brother to me too. So I genuinely care about him. So
yeah. That's the loyalty thing. You're right. I see people going from coach to coach, and the thing that's probably the worst aspect of jumping from coach to coach is it takes a few shows to really know a client's body and how it responds to all different kinds of variables. And if you're constantly doing, this is my first show with this coach, and this is my first show again with this new coach, you're never gonna have time to really learn all that. And
yeah, and you know what, man? I keep talking about how last year we just wasn't up to par. I keep saying that, but truthfully, we did bring an amazing package. I mean, we really did. And I don't think that we've ever brought a bad package ever, even to the Indianapolis Championships, my first show, which was obviously the worst I've ever looked. which was still an incredible look, was it not, James? I mean,
No, it was. And I mean, to put it into perspective for people, this is Derek's 9th show, right? So
no, this is
nine shows, and let's break it down.
number 10.
First show, 160 pounds. Second show, 158 pounds. Third show, 178 pounds. Fourth and fifth show were still, or 176. Those were junior nationals, which he won the overall, and USA's, which a lot of people had, said, oh, well, he was off at USA's. Let me tell you what, USA's as a middleweight, Derek was not off.
I was
if he would have, if he was a paper cut away from bleeding out, and that was the look we wanted to bring. We were going to outcondition everybody on that stage, and we brought that look, and we were both very happy with it. Now, the feedback we got was, oh, well, you weren't big and full like at juniors. And we said, we weren't trying to be big and full like at juniors. We were trying to be peeled. We were trying to be shredded. I mean, let's just all say, I think we all know Jose Raymond is pretty well known for his conditioning. And he was one row behind me, and when Derek walked out and turned around, he goes, oh, shit. Now, when you get a compliment on your conditioning like that from Jose Raymond, I think you're pretty on.
James, I'm going to ask you to go back. I lost like the last 40 seconds there. I don't know.
So what I was saying is, when we did USA's as a middle, a lot of people wanted to say, oh, Derek was off or this or that, but we actually brought the exact look we were trying to do. We were trying to come in absolutely just peeled to the bone. We were going to outcondition everybody. And Jose Raymond was 1 or 2 rows behind me. And when Derek turned around, he said, oh, shit. Now, I think we can all know Jose Raymond is pretty known for his conditioning. Yeah. And when you get a compliment like that from him, I think that says you're pretty on. Yeah. Now, it didn't go the way that he wanted or the way that we wanted. He got second place that year. But it was honestly probably one of the better things that happened. But back to my point. So we had 2 shows at 160 pounds or a little under, 3 shows at 176 pounds. Then we come back the next year, 198 pounds, win USA's overall, win Tampa, 5th at
Olympia.
Mr. Olympia, right? So 3 years, 3 totally different weights by 20 pounds each. Mm. We come back the 4th year. Now he's even bigger, 212 pounds. Pretty respectable look, in my opinion. Pretty good second in the world. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then this year, we're coming back. So, but my point of that being is, oh, well, this went wrong or that went wrong. Well, when you're dealing with someone that's putting on that much tissue and accruing that much size year after year after year, it might have well been 4 different people that I was working with every year. Now, certain things were different. And, obviously I knew certain cues about Derek's body and what kind of foods he responded to and things like that. But his food intake and the way, that he was responding to certain stimulus and stuff like that was changing so much every year that we had to make new adjustments. And when you're making adjustments with someone, anybody that coaches people out there that says that I'm wrong when I say this, they don't actually coach people. Anybody that's working with someone for the first year or the first time, and they can say, I knew for a fact that what I was going to do was going to work. No, you didn't. Because you've never done it before. Yeah. You've never done it with that person. You may know techniques. You have ideas. You think this is what's going to happen. You're using your eyes, all those things to make sure it happens the way you want. But so every time we've been adjusting with new things because he's a totally different person every time on stage. So, and then last year, like I said, we threw in the fact of, being just highly stressed physically and mentally and overworked. And it just, it was a lot. We were feeding him a lot of food, trying to get him filled out and dried out and all that stuff. So, and we use that. And this year he's a lot more, he took a whole, month, 6 weeks off this year, went to the Philippines, rested, got his body real healthy. First time he's ever taken that amount of time off. And so we're back to a position even more optimal than last year, but with a similar body now.
I don't even feel the same. That's the thing. Yeah. I don't physically feel the same this year like I did last year. Last like, I'm not saying I'm not suffering. Don't get me wrong. Like, this is, I'm sure I am going harder. Like, I am sure I am doing everything on another level this year than I've ever done it, but more optimal. Does that make sense? So like, so I feel so much better, even though I'm going so much harder. So I always say, like, it never gets any easier. You just get tougher, but we also got smarter too. And I just feel so much better. So I actually, like, last year, you'll see it in my YouTube series I've been posting out. By the way, this is not supposed to be a plug, but
No, that's fine.
Not a
Absolutely.
plug, but I'm gonna throw my YouTube out there.
No, what's your YouTube?
No,
What is your YouTube channel so people can check it out? They should. What is it?
Derek Lunsford. Just look up
Okay.
Derek Lunsford on YouTube. But anyway, I wasn't trying to make a plug, but you'll see in my videos on how I just talk about, like, how I give 100% effort every single day. And I build confidence on that, knowing that every single day I'm giving 100% at everything I do. And like, going to the gym, I'm, like, excited about challenging the weights and challenging myself and seeing just how much better I can get every single day and every single training session, versus even last year in the past, it was like I was pitying myself. Like, oh, you're working so hard. Like, you know, nobody knows what you're going through. Well, you know what? Nobody cares what you're going through. Nobody cares how you feel. You're supposed to be feeling like this. You're supposed to be the best in the world, right? That means you have to work harder than everyone else, not pity yourself, and be the champion that you are. And that's how I feel this year. And that's mentally, but physically I feel good too. That's what's dangerous, I feel like.
And anything you want to plug, Derek? You're being very generous with your time and everything. So the least I can do is let you throw a plug in there.
No, I just appreciate this. And look, Ron, I'm not doing this for myself. If I'm doing it for anyone, it's you and James, really.
I appreciate
but,
it.
But really, ultimately, I'm doing all this content stuff and interviews for the fans, man. Yeah. And like, I'm paying out of my pocket for this YouTube, for a buddy of mine to do my YouTube for me, just so the fans can get you know, what they want, or at least if I'm, like, as a fan myself, I know what I would want, and I'm giving that to the people. And so I'm just trying to do as much as I can for everyone else. It'll come back to me in return. So
of course it will.
Whatever. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to start with James. How sick are you of hearing this one name, Hadi Chupan?
I'm not sick of it. I wish Hadi would show up. It would put all the myths to rest. And honestly, Hadi, don't get me wrong. In Toronto, Hadi looks sick. But I think Derek would expose him. I think if Derek was in Toronto, Derek would be going to the Open Olympia this year. Hadi gets peeled, but he's not very prominent from the backside, and we all know what Derek looks like from the backside. And I think that exactly what's going to happen this year would still happen no matter who showed up in the 212 division. And I'm very confident in saying that.
Okay, Derek, I didn't watch other interviews with you, so I don't know how extensive if you've already talked about this a million times. I apologize, but anything you want to add to that?
Like, to the Hadi. So what I said in another interview, and I'll say it again. You know, I am a fan of sports and competition, and especially bodybuilding. And this is the Super Bowl of bodybuilding. This is the World Cup of bodybuilding. And the best of the best bodybuilders need to be on stage. And I truly want the best bodybuilder in the world to win. Okay? So if that's me, which I believe it will be, then I'll accept it. If it's someone else, and like last year, like, I believe Flex Lewis was better, you know, he deserved it and he earned it. And I shook his hand. I was a gracious second place loser.
Yeah.
So, but that's where I stand with it. He's one of the best bodybuilders in the world, especially in the 212.
Yeah.
But when it comes to should he be here in the United States with the visa issue, I don't know. That is not my business. Right. I don't know the guy. I don't know anything about that situation. So I don't even want to get involved in that. But do I wish that the best of the best would all be there at the Olympia? Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's a political thing. It's not
Yeah, it's not a bodybuilding thing. It's
not.
totally in the political side, and like Derek said, none of us have an answer or even an inside knowledge of what's going on. I wish he could get over here. Like I said, I'd like just to dispel all the myths, just like Derek said, at the best event in the world. But I think Hottie would end up in the open anyways. I think I think honestly, he's probably like, there's way more money in the open, and that's where I'm going, and you can't really blame him for that. It was good to see him in Toronto. I think that's probably a step in the right direction, and maybe he'll be able to get into the Olympia next year. And that would be awesome. And like I said, hats off to him. The guy is a great competitor. Very, very good. I mean, his conditioning is absolutely second to none. That's for sure. And but yeah, I'd love to see him here. I'd love to see him go toe to toe because I'm like Derek. I wanna know undoubtedly who's the best, not this, that.
Yeah.
But we can only take what we can get on the Olympia stage, and that'll be what it is.
Yeah, I mean, my 2 cents: shape and structure. Derek destroys him. Much better shape, much better structure. Muscle maturity. Hottie's got more of that because he's a lot older. He's been training a lot longer.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I knew that was coming, Ron.
Yeah, but I
Hold on
haven't
a second.
seen.
Hold up,
I
hold
have
up,
not
hold up.
seen what a year of extra training looks like on your body.
You got to
That's
remember,
what-
Ron
that's
likes
what
the
I'm
old
talking
guys.
about.
He's like me. We're not young anymore, so.
I'm getting quite excited about the most recent updates I've been sending to James.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's very excited. Everyone's dying to see what you look like, obviously, because the last, all the pictures we get are weeks and weeks out, because you typically cut off the social media about 3-4 weeks out.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I have a couple weeks lag time, but I've been posting my YouTube. Like my YouTube's probably the most recent, or my Instagram videos. Like my Instagram videos that I've been posting, or some of my pictures have been like the day of or like the day before. So you can stay up to date on my Instagram too, Mr. USA 2017 plug. That one was a plug.
Mr. USA 2017, everybody.
Yes.
But keep an eye on that because it's probably going to change in 2 weeks, the title of that Instagram.
People keep saying that. And my response is, what, you don't like Mr. USA or what?
I love Mr. USA, but Mr. Olympia sounds pretty damn good too. Yeah. Just saying. It's funny how people say, well, most people I don't think are saying this, but they ask when they're talking about who's going to do what in the show, they say, well, if so-and-so's in shape, the fact that you came so close to Olympia last year, obviously you're not going to slack, and you're not going to do anything less than 100% with your training, your diet, all that, because this is a big chance.
James, I don't want to like, I should probably knock on wood here, but I would really probably have to really go off the diet pretty hard to not be at least conditioned, right?
Yeah, I mean, you guys saw the 6 week out guest posing. He was in shape.
Yeah. So as far as getting lean, that's not the problem.
Right.
I don't really see an issue and an obstacle when it comes to making weight or being, on point, because we're right where we need to be, compared to last year. But that's what I'm saying. Like for myself, I can't imagine skipping a cardio session or skipping out even 5 minutes on cardio, even 1 minute on cardio. I couldn't imagine not going to the gym and training. I couldn't imagine eating off the menu or the base diet unless James says. I couldn't do it. Like I literally would have to force myself. I would have to have someone else force me to deviate. That's the thing. But even if I chose to deviate, I think it would still be pretty hard for me not to be conditioned.
James, out of all your clients, would you say he's one of the few that you never, ever have to worry about as far as doing the cardio, following the diet, everything 100% the way you tell him to?
Yeah, I mean, Derek follows pretty much everything that I put out there.
What do you mean pretty much everything?
The thing we have to watch Derek about is Derek, and over the years, we've gotten better about this, and he's learned as he's grown, is like with like 0 calorie things or stuff like that. I have to keep him in rein with that kind of stuff because he has as he gets leaner and leaner, and everybody knows this that's competed, your thought process kind of goes down, and one of the things he likes to do as he gets more and more tired is use more and more like mustard and sugar-free ketchup. And I don't know why. I guess he loves it. I
So,
think
hey,
I've squirt it in his mouth.
That's also a huge change this year
Yeah.
too, which I think has also been a huge help. Is that I don't do that any longer. I don't feel the need to. I don't want to do it. I pretty much just use salt and pepper on all my food, or a seasoned salt. I do use a little bit of like, herbs, like a little garlic powder, a little maybe like flavor gods or something that's no sugar, no. I don't do the sweeteners or nothing. I literally just eat the food and train, and like that's what I'm saying. That's why I think I'm so confident this year too, and mentally better, is that I'm just doing everything like on point and not trying to, let's add a little bit of this extra mustard or reduced sugar ketchup, or let's throw in so much salt and seasonings. Like that was the only thing I did that was
But when it comes to training, following the actual diet, et cetera, no, I know if I put it on paper, it's going to be taken care of, and all that's going to be done. Like I said, it's like the funny little things with Derek, that if you knew him more, fall right into his personality.
It's like this. Hey, what about this one? I remember the first year I competed, and when I was going to do my first show, we were like 8 weeks out or something. You probably don't remember, but I do, because I remember how sick I felt. I was like, dude, my stomach's just like I feel so sick and cramped up, and I'm like, I don't remember what all I told you, but you were like, wait, how much veggies are you eating? How much broccoli are you eating?
Oh yeah, a family-sized bag with every meal.
Because I thought, it's veggies that you can eat unlimited amount of that. So I was eating like tons of mustard and putting weird stuff on my broccoli, and so I was having weird combinations and eating tons of it. He's like, "What are you doing different?" I'm like, "Nothing." He goes, "You're doing something different. How much are you eating of this broccoli?" I'm like, yeah, stop that now." But that was, like I said, my very first competition, and it's just funny to look back now at.
Well, James, that brings up a good point, because tons of people here compete or want to. How bad is it? People think you can eat as much vegetables as you want because it's, there's nothing in broccoli that's going to affect your condition, as far as we know. Mustard, there's nothing in mustard that's going to affect. Do all these things have to be watched more closely than what most people would think?
It's a gray area answer, because it has a lot to do with the person. So someone like myself, who has, when I competed, I have a hard time getting truly stage ready and in shape. So for me and guys like me, 100%, every calorie counts when you're going down to it. If you're a guy that has to go down, at 240 pounds on stage, I was still doing, 2 hours of cardio and very low carbs to get in shape. You would think, that's a lot of muscle to carry around, 240 pounds. But I just naturally have a pretty slow metabolism. I can grow pretty easily on under 4,000 calories in the off season. So yeah, it has a lot of effect. If you're one of those guys, you got to keep it very moderate and keep it consistent. Now, if you're a guy, most likely, that's on the Olympia stage, all those guys, most pros, that type of thing, not saying they don't suffer, or just a higher metabolism guy, you can obviously get away with a little bit more. But with that said, everything matters. If you're going to use mustard and a little bit of sugar-free ketchup, well, then you got to keep it consistent, because that's still a variable. It's still a calorie content. If you're going to eat veggies and you're eating a cup with every meal, and then as you get closer to the show, well, now I'm eating 2 cups, now I'm eating 3 cups. Well, you did just triple the calorie intake of one of your food sources, and that can make a difference. Now, like I said, for a guy that's got, strided glutes in the off season, is probably not going to make a difference. For a guy like myself, it's going to make a huge difference in your final look. And especially, a lot of people fall into the problem of, they start hammering those veggies, and they start, whatever, and their digestion just goes to crap, and they're like, I don't know why my stomach feels so bad. Oh, next meal, 3 cups of broccoli or 3 cups of cauliflower down,
Hey,
and it just
I'll be right back, guys. Hang on a second.
Okay. Well, let's just keep talking,
and then
Jay.
they compound the effect on themselves, and make it even worse. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely something you have to keep control of. And actually, typically coming into shows, I pull out all the veggies out of people's diet and stuff.
Oh, wow.
Like say like the last week or so, because I want optimal digestion and I want optimal nutrient absorption. And with that stuff, you're just getting a lot of fiber, filler, and actually no use or benefit, and it's just slowing your digestion down.
See, I have it all wrong because I thought that would push everything through like Roto-Rooter and improve your digestion and get you pooping regularly. But no, not true. Wouldn't work that way.
No,
Pooping
because
regularly is one thing. It doesn't mean you're utilizing nutrients. That's like
Yeah.
most guys, especially first time competitors, they'll get down to the show and they're like, "Man, I haven't pooped in 2 days." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay." They're like, "Are you worried about that?" I'm like, "No, when it hits a week, let me know." I'm like, when you're only taking in just enough calories to sustain your life,
Yeah.
where do you want the waste to come from? What do you expect to come out the backside,
I never thought
Uh,
about it that way.
so if you, especially when you're not having a lot of those fillers
Yeah.
that are going to come out, fibrous fillers and veggies, those are going to pass through. You're still going to go. But if you're eating just clean, nutritious, actual calories and stuff, and you're right there on that line,
Mm.
it might be every couple days. Now we got to listen to your stomach, and that if you're getting distended and bloated out and can't digest, then we might have a problem.
See, I guarantee no other interview has gone into the whole pooping situation.
Pooping, man, it's important. Poop
Well, I
is
remember Flex Lewis. I don't know a couple shows. He had a lot of issues with constipation. I'm
Yeah.
not putting him on blast here. He said it. He stated himself. But I mean, there were times where he was like, in pain the night before the show. Couldn't even leave the room because he
Yeah.
had to go.
Yeah.
So I guess you want a good balance there.
It happens.
Um, so here we are, 2 weeks to go. What's your strategy, guys? When do you arrive in Vegas? So you going in Sunday or Monday?
I'll be there Tuesday.
Tuesday.
I
Okay.
fly in Wednesday morning.
Okay.
Hey, what
Uh,
time, James?
What's that?
What time?
9 a.m. I think.
All right. I can't get you. I got a haircut at 10.
You would.
Barely have any
You
hair.
know I always get a haircut.
So how much time is there between weigh-ins and judging this year?
Thursday 9 a.m. is weigh-ins, and Friday 10 a.m. I think is prejudging, or 9 a.m. is prejudging.
Yeah, I think it starts at 9 with like fitness, figure, bikini. So
Yes, 24 to 26 hours, I would say.
okay, so you'll be like 250, 260 by the time you get on stage for judging. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I will. I don't know where Derek will be.
Yeah, I mean, do you find it ridiculous how people make they focus so much on the body weight with these things when it really, it has nothing to do with what you actually look like.
No, that's like when we were talking about the guest posing, and everybody was talking about his weight, and they're like, "Oh, man, how's he ever gonna get down to weight? How's he ever gonna get there?" Hey, it's 10 pounds. It's really not. He wasn't shredded. He was in really good shape at 6 weeks out, and it's like, oh, he's gonna fall apart. It's like, well, yeah, if he was 240 and looked like that, we might have a problem. But everybody worries about the weight so much, like. You got to remember I think these top level guys are, have hollow bones and such. Like the way they can hold weight and what they look like is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, go back a few years. Kevin English when he was 202.
Yeah.
Would you ever believe that man was only 202 pounds? Looking at him,
Right.
no.
Right.
So, it's all an illusion. All right, guys. I've taken up a lot of your time at 2 weeks after Olympia. Any parting words? Anybody you want to recognize, thank, or any words of wisdom? Anything? We'll start with you, Derek.
Well, obviously, I want to thank James so much, man. He is one of the greatest godsends in my life, for real. And I say that because not just that who he is, but he's given me such great guidance to have this career and live this lifestyle, and now I'm able to not only do for myself and friends and family, but I'm able to make this great impact on other people, which is my ultimate goal. So I'm extremely thankful for James. Thank you, man. You know, of course, all my sponsors, Gasp and Animal, have hooked me up and, you know, been behind me. Protan's behind me and has been, you know, for several years. Icon Meals, same thing. They've been nothing but amazing to me. For the Icon Meals, my code is Derek10. That gets you 10% off if you go to iconmeals.com. And then Derek212 for Protan if you guys want any Protan products. But as far as that, I appreciate you guys, like I said, following my YouTube that we just came out with pretty much this year. Matter of fact, Drew, come over here real quick. Sorry.
No, absolutely.
This is my dude, Drew.
What's up, guys?
Like, come over this way.
What's
I don't
up?
know how you can see.
What's up, Drew? How are you doing?
All right, you're good. Get out of here. All right, that's my dude, Drew. He's the one that's been doing my YouTube for me, and he's been killing it. So, and the feedback's been amazing. Other than that, again, thanks for following my Instagram, Mr. USA 2017, and I'll see you guys in 2 weeks at the Olympia.
Hey, buddy. James Brown?
Yeah, man. If you guys can just check me out on Instagram, JB Prep. You know, follow me there if you want to catch it. You know, we keep updates of Derek, some different stuff than what he posts. Some of my other clients, you know, my Instagram's mostly just about my clients. A lot of people don't even know what I look like. Because I don't post myself. It ain't about me. You know what I mean? It's about them. What's that, Derek?
Is your profile me and you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you better change that back. I remember you changed it once.
Might change it today. But yeah, just if you guys could give me a follow on Instagram. If anybody has any questions about coaching, it's you can shoot me a message on there, or jamescb77@msn.com, showing my age with that email a little bit.
1977?
No. That's just random numbers.
Oh.
I'm not that old.
Then
I'm not that old.
You think that's old? 1977?
Hey, Ron.
1969 over here.
Hey, I wasn't going to ask, but if you want to throw it out there.
Same year this Javona Birch Miller was born. Who's that?
wow, I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
That's my mother.
Nice.
Mama.
By the way, hey, let me make another plug and shout out to her. Have you seen her transformation?
Yeah, I was going to say, she's going to be pissed you didn't even mention her.
She has done a better prep and done better on her social media than any other Olympia that's been prepping this year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, like, she's done a better job at, you know, putting herself out there than any other Olympian competing this year, or prepping for any other show. So, and her transformation is amazing. So, you know, give her a follow too, Javonna Miller, or, you know, I'll tag her on my Instagram. But anyway.
Yeah, she's. I was going to let you say it because, you know, she's definitely shaped up quite a bit over the last year or so.
And actually, this is what she told me, and I'm gonna hold her to the fire here in this interview. So the other day, I called her and I said, you know, was telling her how proud of her I was, and, you know, whatever. And I said, so what's your ultimate goal? I was like, are you trying to, like, I said, I would love to see you push it past the Olympia, because she's calling it the Mr. Olympia Mom Prep is what she's calling it. You know, so because she wants to get in shape. But then I said, I would love to see you, you know, continue afterwards. She goes, well, I am. I go, well, what, to like Christmas or first year or what? She goes, no, I'm going to do a show.
Yeah.
I said, wait, what? She goes, yeah, I'm going to do a show. I said, promise me right now. Say, I promise I'm going to do a show. She did. So we'll see which one she picks.
It's on the internet. Everybody knows once it's on the internet, it never goes away.
Done.
Masters Nationals 2020. Yeah. Okay. Figure. How tall is she?
She's pretty short.
Yeah, she's short.
Figure A. Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much for taking all the time. Appreciate it very much, James. Especially, we've never really had your whole perspective on this thing. It was cool to have you guys interacting and going back and forth and sharing old war stories about ketchup and mustard and everything.
We should do it again, another interview, me and him, after the Olympia sometime.
Oh, I'm down for it. You know I'm down for it.
All right.
All right, guys. Thank you so much again. Everybody check Derek out 2 weeks from now. Actually, this is probably going to post even closer to the Olympia, but Olympia weekend, 212 Olympia. This is the man. Let's see how it goes down. We're looking for that #1 spot. So fingers crossed, everybody. So thanks for watching Ronline Report, and we'll see you later.